So over the weekend, someone made a post on the social media that gained a lot of attraction. It trended, it went a bit viral on my academic platform. A colleague of mine posted it, and honestly, I just glanced through because it started on a note that I didn't find comfortable. So I didn't read everything. I just glanced through. And the person was talking about how the academia or Nigerian professors in particular are the problems of Nigeria. The person said he is from an academic family. He himself is a proud owner of two PhD, you know, and but he just needed to say the truth. And he made mention of how professors team up with INEC officials to falsify election results and then announce people who weren't ordinarily supposed to be announced winners as winners. And that keeps Nigeria in an unfortunate position politically, and maybe that forms the bedrock of our political problems. And he really bashed professors, Nigerian professors. Unfortunately, or rather fortunately, depending on your divide, he was saying the truth because it is proven that university staff, especially the professors who are always hired as returning officers, ad hoc positions, they join with the INEC officials to commit electoral malpractices. There is a verification to that. The person that is your Senate president is a product of that situation. And the person who championed his election was sentenced for electoral malpractice. So normally, if the Nigerian people were such a people, your Senate president would have discontinued occupying that position because, like they always say, a court of competent jurisdiction have sentenced someone who pronounced him winner of whatever made him today the Senate president. So, what are we talking about? The young guy made very salient points, and coming from an academic society, I will hail and celebrate his guts. To have the mind to say all of those things he said against himself, it's something worth celebrating. But then there is a gap in whatever he said, and that gap is what I wish to successfully bridge. You have to be patient with me. The missing link to all of these things is poverty. You know, I've always said poverty is the bedrock of everything that happens negatively in the African society and in Nigerian society in particular. It's poverty. And the poverty is not organic, it is weaponized. If you looked back to the history of the origin of man or the history of Africa, Africa wasn't poor. Africa had no business with poverty. The poverty of Africa started at the entrance of aliens. I'll call them aliens. You might call them colonialists. You might call them as a slave traders. You might call them um, Europeans, whatever nomenclature. But the day aliens stepped their foot in African soil was the day Africa started becoming a problem. So we have to set the pace on that. But unfortunately for a lot of you, you confuse yourself and say, about they have given us independence 60, many years ago, 1960. Why are we not getting it right? My brother, most of you say these things, and most of you that say these things are Christians who are Bible believers. You forget when your Bible say, when the foundation is broken, what will the righteous do? The foundation of the contemporary socio-political realities of Africa in general and Nigeria in particular was broken by those people. Every other thing that we've been doing was building on a broken foundation. It's like a house built on sand. It will never stand. But when we want to talk, those of you that knows too much, they have given us independence. They have left where? Where did they go to? They have left, but Donald Trump is in northern Nigeria currently. But you say we are independent. Do you know the meaning of independence? Independence is simply being able to take care of yourself by yourself for yourself. Some people would say, if you can't take care of yourself, why wouldn't you allow someone else to come and help you? Who is the person that is coming to help you? The one that created the problem. Person wey purposely give you headache, may headache kill you. Now that same person you go meet, make him give you Panadol. Anything wey him give you, e go only resemble Panadol. E no fit be like Panadol, or e no fit be Panadol. You've not heard the advert. If e no be Panadol, e no go fit be like Panadol. So what we do in Nigeria is to expect someone who gave us the headache to give us the cure to it. Are you okay? Where does that happen? I will have to stay in line, but while staying in line, I will be falling out of line at intervals. I heard of a phrase or of a maxim. I've forgotten who said it. I used to think it's Voltaire that said it, but I tried to find out. It wasn't coming forth. Principle doesn't work on empty stomach. Principle doesn't work on empty stomach. What that means is that, in our local parlance, we will say a hungry man is an angry man. When you are hungry, you lose your senses. It's natural. Abraham Maslow's theory of needs have put forward these things. There is the physiological needs. The most important need for man is food. All those things, if you say man shall not live by bread alone, someone also said, but if man doesn't eat bread, man will soon die. Someone who is hungry is someone who is dying. And to say the least, there is no professor in Nigeria who is not hungry, unless you do not know the meaning of hunger. Some of you are from privileged homes or near privileged homes. You've not really tasted hunger. Why do you think our politicians steal? Politicians, someone stole 5 billion naira and the person is trying to steal 1 billion naira. If that person got 1 billion and they saw 100,000 naira, they will still steal it. Why? Do you think it's greed? It's not greed. Do you think it's wickedness? It's not wickedness. It's poverty. You don't know. When we talk about poverty like this, a lot of people think poverty is the absence or the lack of money in the pocket, the lack of food. Poverty goes beyond that. Poverty destroys your mind. Poverty destroys your intellect. And then you would even want to wonder if there is any rich person in Nigeria. Yes, Dangote, Elumelu and the like. As long as you're living in Nigeria, you might not be qualified as rich because a poor country cannot have rich people. Nigeria is poor, and that poverty is deliberate. Apart from which, Nigeria is one of the wealthiest countries on earth. But the poverty is deliberate, the poverty is weaponized. It flows from the international system down to your village. It's a setup. So if you are in Nigeria and you are very rich, a rich person does not experience bad road network. That's not riches. A rich person does not experience situations where you get an accident. Anthony Joshua, world champion, rich. A rich person should afford as common as if Anthony Joshua wants to decides to buy ambulance, he will buy a car shop. He will buy a car shop of ambulance. But when he needed ambulance, his money couldn't buy for him because he is in a country that is poor. So a poor country cannot produce rich people. You cannot live a qualitative life in a poor country, no matter how rich you are. What is riches if you can't afford a continuous or uninterrupted power supply? How rich are you that you need to get alternative power? You go need buy generator or solar. Is that what you call riches? Even your Aso Rock is making use of solar. NEPA office, they use gen, and you say you are rich. What's rich about you? Aso Rock Villa, the other time, First Lady, late Muhammadu Buhari's wife, Aisha, complained that the Aso Rock Clinic didn't have Panadol. I don't know if they've they've put Panadol in the shelves right now. Look at this other woman that is a writer, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Is it that she couldn't afford medical? How much is medical care? As rich as she is, as rich as her family is, renowned people, but because you are from or in a poor country, you live very low standard lives. And that's why they say high standards keeps you from low quality experiences. Nigeria is a theater of low quality experiences. So if you want to maintain high standards, avoid Nigeria. What's your riches if you would need to be flown abroad to be opportune to quality medical care. Okay, you no know say pipu dey die on board. Dem fit dey rush you emergency, you kpai inside airport. What have your riches done for you? So Nigeria does not have rich people. We are all poor, and it works on our mind. The difference is that the level of the poverty is not closely related. The poverty is class. There is the higher class of the poor and the lower class of the poor. Those in the political class, those that are opportune to power, those in the economic class, those that have captured the state, they are in the higher class of poverty. Then me and you, especially teachers, university workers, the university workers, lecturers, they are in the lowest of the low. Let's be clear. It's just that we do not calculate. Let's be clear. E get how you go look this thing. Barrow pusher, they see money pass professor. It will sound funny, but go and calculate it. What's the salary of a professor, a Nigerian professor? I don't know whether I don't reach 500K. A Nigerian professor. Divide 500,000 by 30 days. Inside the 500,000, they will remove taxes, they will remove cooperative, they will remove whatever they are going to remove. When you divide it by 30 days, e no go reach wetin barrow pusher for Alaba International Market dey make in a day. Barrow pusher, when you divide the salary of a Nigerian professor by 30 days, 1 month, it doesn't match what a motorcycle rider in Lagos takes home after expenditure, after the day's expenses. It doesn't match. That is a professor. And when he is faced with INEC thousands of dollars, you call him out for not taking. I am not defending professors. I am just attending to the root causes of the problem. Principle doesn't work on empty stomach. My teacher, Professor Dodeye Williams, she told me long time ago, or she told us in class, that she was speaking about responses. She taught me conflict resolution. She said the same thing that produces a positive result can also produce a negative result. What did she mean? She gave an instance of, she used poverty. That poverty can make Mr. A to go and hustle for food. The same poverty can make Mr. B to go and steal for food. One person is committing a crime, one person is being legit, but what inspired the both of them is the same thing: poverty. So while you are saying kudos to the person who decided to work, you will be demonizing the person who decided to steal. But we do not, in Africa or in Nigeria particularly, look at the reason for why someone stole, because we've already seen that stealing is outlawed, stealing is a crime. Oh yeah, in Calabar they will rush you. The people that will even rush you with tires to burn. Why doing that? They fit see opportunity to smuggle hand into person pocket, steal phone, but in one born person wey thief. We don't look at root causes. For you to understand the moves a person make, you need to first understand what moves them. And that's why our criminal justice system is more punitive. than corrective. They just carry that correctional center, put there, they deceive una. You need to understand what moves people. So the same situation, poverty, provides different results, but one becomes criminalized. If that person wasn't poor, will the person steal? What we should be doing is to be attending to poverty. How do we stop poverty? You cannot stop people from stealing if you can't take away the reason they steal. If you say person just like to steal, is there anybody, do you like to steal? Do you think the professor likes to take money from INEC to sell society after going to all the school he went to? But you need to understand what moves a people. The missing link is consciousness. You know, there are levels of consciousness. Consciousness have nothing to do with education. They all talk about education self is over education to some extent is overestimated, because with all the education we have in Nigeria, see where we dey. Nigerians are more educated than nearly every other people on earth. See where we dey. You do not know that those Europe and American countries have less educated. There are people who are so ignorant to the point they still think Africa is a country, as in full Africa na one country. Whites think there are people who still live on trees in Africa. They still think people in Africa still have tails in their butts. Those are the people we magnify, we idolize, we don't even love ourselves. Consciousness, you don't know who you are. So the difference is consciousness. It is a kind of consciousness that makes the other person to steal out of hunger and makes the other person to work out of hunger. A stark illiterate who never saw the blocks could have a higher consciousness than a university professor. You know, I know who I am. I am king. Kings do not compromise. Kings do not sell out. Kings do not falsify election results. It takes a different level of consciousness for you to be so hungry and you are given $10,000 and you do not play balls. While people could easily make those kind of comments or posts or complaints and people buy into them, is because they are not in that situation. Whenever you want to do something or say something, you put yourself in the position. You that is bashing out on the university professor for selling out to INEC. If you were that university professor, are you sure you wouldn't sell out? When you look at your bank statements and it is reading a deficit. In fact, university lecturers, I don't know, and the way people rush, I want to be a lecturer, is for the love of the sea. Anybody that you see in the Nigerian university lecturing is for two things. One, for the love of the job, and most of them are there for the love of the job. Only a few sees that as a means to escape poverty. And are those ones where if you see those ones for class, you go know. Do you get? But when you see that a university lecturer, second week into the month, he already chop in next month's salary for credit. I know of a university staff that lives on debit. E dey owe everywhere. E dey owe for indomie. E dey owe. E dey owe for biscuit for pikin. E dey owe. e name don turn to oasis. They owe anything and everything. You know, the guy know they won't follow some kind road, make people wey they owe no see am. Do you think he likes it? Do you now it is in Nigeria that people run away from themselves because of poverty. If that kind person just dey one day, they choose and say make e come go do INEC work for one state, and then Akpabio come give am $10,000. You that is asking that person to not take that money, you are a person that is operating on a poverty mindset. This is an ironical statement, it's satirical. But person wey dey live on debit, person wey dey hide from people wey e owe, person wey dey run from himself, come get opportunity to just take $10,000 and say Akpabio won, and the person doesn't do it. You will join me to think that person is mad. It is because you were not in that position. That's why you can easily say, the person. You know, a lot of times I have always told people, don't say you won't do this. Don't say if it were me, I no go do. Life is a professor. It will test you. And most of the time, 99% of the time, you will fail the test because you are poor. Albert Einstein said, hunger is not a good political advisor. Now, Albert Einstein talk am, he was one of the most intelligent human beings on earth. He said hunger is not a good political advisor. Well, hunger na im go dey tell you say collect 5,000 naira, vote for person wey go destroy your future. You already know say na this person. Are you not seeing the kind of people are supporting in the political realm? Now, because those ones never become returning officers. If those kind of people are made returning officers, you will go and thank the professor for even being a gentleman about his own. Hunger. And this political class, they make sure you become that hungry. They make sure the professor, the university staff continue to be hungry. See, I feel so much for university workers. They make sure they continue to exist in untold hardship, so that when it's election period and they give you $10,000, your brain go turn. The next thing you go hear for the back of your brain na gbarananananananan. You've not heard that kind of sound before. If you want to say, sir, I cannot. Maybe Holy Spirit go first slap you. Are you stupid? Come on, take that thing and leave this place. It is always easy for mouth because you know they for the position. Life is a professor. When it tests you, you are going to fail. We have to look at the foundational causes as to why we react in the ways we react, not to only focus on the reaction. It was Newton that said, for every action, there is equal or opposite reaction. You can't expect somebody that doesn't know what their children are going to eat. You can't expect somebody that have children out of school, children are shamed out of class for non-payment of school fees, to come in contact with Akpabio's $10,000 and start saying, I have reputation, I'm a principled person, I'm God-fearing, Nigeria must be great, I want to make a statement for Nigeria. If you see that kind of person, all you need to do is to thank God, like the one from Abia State. I think Professor Nayauti, I think that's her name. All you need to do is celebrate that person and thank God for that person. But the ones that couldn't hold on to such level of consciousness, what you should feel for them is pity. It's not to bash them. They don't use their right mind. Person no they use in right senses, they go mad. When you are hungry, you are mad. How do you expect a mad person to act right? Cure the madness and they will obey. Cure the madness, they will fall in place. We are all mad. Can't you see? Sanity in Nigeria is abnormal and it is all poverty. I have been saying this, but people know they won't understand. George Eliot said, no man can be wise on an empty stomach. No man can be wise on an empty stomach. It's that simple. It is your pocket that determines your psychological outpouring. I have said this before. Man cannot think beyond their pocket. Man cannot think beyond their stomach. It is natural. If you got someone who could think beyond their stomach and pocket, thank you. The deal, I can brag to be one of those, but you no go believe me. The day, but there are very few. Why are we always blaming people for who we all are? You know, Ubuntu. I am because we all are. Why? That's hypocrisy if you ask me. See, when hunger infiltrates your system, it tears you open while breaking your intellectual defenses like poison. Hunger is like poison. It destroys you. You don't think right. You don't even think. The next thing that's on your mind is food, food, food. Make I chop first, then we can think later. That's what happens to the university professors. Do not blame them. If they carried honey and dropped on your tongue, you must taste it. Must. Even though you spit it out, you can spit out the whole of that honey, but at the end of the day, you must feel the taste. You would say all of the things you want to say against the professors or the returning officers because they never drop honey for your tongue. By the time they drop honey for your tongue, now you go first the stutter, You will not be able to make a coordinated post when they don't put that honey for your tongue. Why do you think? Look at our current leaders. All of them are the people who rose up against bad government. All of them have performed worse. All. They've taken us to a history of failure like never before. It is these same people that were calling people out, that were carrying caskets, that were occupying Nigeria. Look at where we are today. It is the same people. But when they were calling out the other government, because them know they inside the shoes, it can't be like saying that them be Messiah and them be holier than thou. I also say Gafili Gadoki. They don't give you field, they don't give you donkey. Ride us. Maybe you said you are the one that will ride Nigeria to paradise. But look at where they are riding Nigeria to Waterloo. Read Professor Cloud Ake. Professor Cloud Ake is, I think, is late from Rivers State. He wrote 2 books, A Political Economy of Africa and Social Science as Imperialism. When you read those books, you would understand some of these things. Another problem is that we in Nigeria, we don't read. We've already considered school as scam, especially when you see a professor betraying your hopes. You say, after all the school you go. It doesn't work that way. We are all hungry. Whether you went to school or you didn't go to school, hunger is doing all of us. You can't fix internal issues using external methods. And those external methods are inconsistent with your internal realities. The things that made Africa poor are the same things that made Europe rich. It is the moving of human and material capital. As they are moving those things from Africa, Africa is becoming poor. As they are moving those things into Europe and America, Europe and America is becoming rich. Do you get? So if you want to fix Africa's problem, you do not have to use European models, because our internal reality are different, but the outcome are ironical. So we focus on themes and lessons from Europe and America. Our social science, like Claude Eke argued, is full of overseas junks that do not match with our own internal reality. So when you say 1960, the Europeans left, I will ask you, what about the Structural Adjustment Program? It is a post-colonial program that is living with us today. It is the major cause of contemporary poverty, hardship, hunger, corruption, agitation, name it, in Nigeria. Not just in Nigeria, across Africa. The Structural Adjustment Program. How many of you know about the SAP? But it's just to run mouth. We just focus on social trends. It is the SAP that asked the Nigerian government to downsize, to fire people, to remove subsidy, to privatize. And the privatization, it will go into the pockets of the political class, and they are not to be held accountable. To cut social welfare. When you do all those things, you throw the people into untold poverty. But you will come with the deception of the assumption that these propositions or these principles are going to make your country great. No, these things will impoverish your country. And that's why the professor in Nigeria is poor today. Privatization of the economy, government that is supposed to provide social amenities do not provide, privatization of security, everybody gets bodyguards. See, where Nigeria is, the only thing that can take us back is a rising, not to start choosing who to blame. We are all to blame, and we are to blame because we do not rise, we do not hold these leaders accountable. The leaders we have are a reflection of our colonial lords. They are the comprador bourgeois. They are the middlemen. They are the link between our oppression and the European wealth. So if you would hold them accountable, you are taking away that link. But we do not do that. We rather blame ourselves. Victims blaming victims. I wonder where that works. How can you blame yourselves? You are not the problem. You should rather be the solution. We have to revisit the SAP, the Structural Adjustment Program. We have to revisit it. We have to build a politics and an economy that is based on the African civilization. Unless that happens, We keep running around circles. The African civilization held people accountable. But when the white men came, they came with force. You cannot hold a force accountable because it's a force. It enforces. It doesn't give accounts of Nigerian police force, Nigerian armed forces, everything force, 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 tax force. Everything is force. Nobody is held accountable because everything is by force. You want to go and hold someone with a gun accountable. Ordinary street protest, they will tear gas you, they will fire you. But you can hold them accountable. So you need to rise. There need to be an uprising. It has happened in so many systems, and they started achieving quantum leap. The examples are everywhere. There is Mohamed Bouazizi in our Africa here, and it resulted into an Arab Spring that went outside of Africa. Of a truth, one man can change the world. Just look at Nigeria. We have the best of human capacity. Please give kudos to our university professors. Do you know what they have produced? Go to America, the best hands in their medical sector are Nigerians. Mostly Nigerians who studied in Nigerian universities. And you are blaming the professors who taught them. But when they go out, they excel because they are in societies that have reduced poverty to the barest of its minimum. If you brought those same people back to Nigeria, they will steal to survive. They will take Akpabio's $10,000 to survive. But when they go to societies that work, they excel. And you now call out our professors. Do you know what it takes to be a professor in Nigeria? If you think it is in Europe where you just you have not even completed your PhD, they are calling you professor. It is so rigorous. The training in Nigeria in this our miseducation, our professors do not compromise a lot of standards. I can tell you that for free. Bring someone that was trained by a Nigerian professor, put him side by side by someone that was trained by an American professor, and see wisdom coming out of Nigeria. Our problem is poverty, weaponized poverty. See, it's just that you do not know yourself. With your third class from a Nigerian university, find a way into European or American society. With your third class, start a master's program. You will top class. You see that third class you have from the Nigerian society, Nigerian universities that everybody, this one feel. It is good abroad because Nigerians that have traveled abroad, the people that do not do well in schools in Nigeria goes abroad. They excel. Why? Because poverty has been removed. Distraction. Poverty is the biggest distraction. It doesn't let you think. It distracts your spirit. Remove poverty. Nigerians are stars. They are born stars. Poverty. Weaponize poverty. There is no Nigerian professor that is not poor. And you cannot expect a poor person to see that kind of money and decide that is the one that wants to save Nigeria. Somebody that have worked over 30 years and does not have 1 million naira in his bank account to show for it. A lot of professors trek. A lot of professors jump buses. The ones that have managed to buy one jalopy, they will drive it, they will drive out the car in the car. They will drive out, mechanic will become their portion. A lot of university lecturers, young and old, do not have laptops, not because they don't want to have laptops or they can't operate laptops, but they are afraid of buying it. Why are they afraid of buying laptops? If I bought this laptop, what will my children eat? Laptop is supposed to enhance your work. Is there a person in an American university, first year, that doesn't have a laptop? Or a professor in Nigeria does not have a laptop, he's afraid of that. If Nigerian professor mistakenly doing phone fall inside water, you are finished. And then when they resort to extorting students, everybody shout, "Wow, you are extorting." My brother, it is poverty. I'm tired. The political class, from the international level down to the local level, they weaponize this poverty so that when you see 1,000 naira, because you've been used to 50 kobo, when you see 1,000 naira, you lose your senses. All the education, all the professorship will fail. It will fall down flat like the walls of Jericho. Because what? When a person is hungry, they are mad. Apologize to the professors and hold your leaders accountable. Thanks for watching.